Welcome to the InfoMullet YouTube channel. If you enjoy this content, please like or share. And if you'd like to support the InfoMullet by becoming a mulleteer, visit us on Patreon. We appreciate your support. So Kevin has a question here. The Department of Justice saying that some foreign actors were deliberately aggravating the protest to cause violent escalation. So this is a good point. There's been this concept of the agent provocateur entering the riots. And there's been two versions of this, one of which Kevin says is that it's a foreign agent provocateur, and the other of which is it's domestic agent provocateur. And you can see these on both sides. For the red side, it's going to be Antifa is driving around and making these violent protests more violent. For the blue side, it's going to be white supremacists or accelerationists are going around. And then, of course, there's the Department of Justice that's saying foreign agents are driving this. Well, let's first of all handle the foreign one that Kevin talked about. I think most of the foreign influence into the country is as it has been for a while, and that is using social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube videos, fake accounts, bots, all those things to generate outrage and things like that. You can go to Hamilton 68. I should probably do a video on it at some point. I've done some media literacy. Hamilton 68 tracks all of this stuff. They track the Russian, the China, they do some with Iran, and you can search and you can see certain taglines that rise and fall that are associated with foreign controlled accounts or what are believed to be foreign backed accounts. So that's the foreign side. I don't think there are any foreign agents here. I think that's a little bit, and this whole concept of the agent provocateur, I don't buy into for the most part. I think there's more than enough causal, plausible explanation in every local community to account for, every local community is going to have activist groups, police, good and bad, criminals who are going to take advantage for looting, store owners who want to defend themselves. All of these groups are in every community and they're going to mix and interact. But the second argument, the domestic, I want to touch on that because Trump had mentioned Antifa was doing this and there had been a concern on the blue. You have to remember, no one knew this was coming other than, the standpoint of if another unarmed black man is killed in police custody and there's a mass riot, there will be protests. But on May 25th, if you were an agent provocateur as a group, you would have to have a plan to send your troops, your agent provocateurs, to dozens of cities as this began to spread. And they would have to be effective in places that they may not be native to or strangers of. And none of the groups that are sort of tagged with being provocateurs have demonstrated that level of capability, both on the right and the left. Most of these sort of extreme groups that practice violence, in various forms, are largely capable of doing planned street battles or confrontations that are months or weeks in advance. And this is like Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville or some of the Portland demonstrations where there's a clear demonstration that's been called, there's knowledge for weeks or months in advance, and both sides kind of funnel in there. None of them have demonstrated a contingent capability. And a contingent, I mean, something happens and you react to it quickly. And we're talking about a level of planning that's like the Tet Offensive here, hitting multiple cities at once, getting your people in all those areas, getting into the right positions where they can cause the difficulties, I think is a real stretch on the plausibility. But we did have one case, and I posted an article on the InfoMullet. We have had a sort of verified domestic terror incident that was an Air Force sergeant who killed a federal officer outside a courthouse on May 29th. Injured another, was a drive-by attack. And then on Saturday, when he was cornered, he killed a local sheriff's officer, wounded two more, was eventually caught. He has been sort of, the evidence for me is pretty clear. He's a left-wing extremist. He espouses left-wing, not Antifa, but sort of the anti-fascist, police brutality sort of memes. But there's no indication he's working with anyone else. He's what you would call a lone wolf operator. And these lone wolves they'll be around and they happen. They tend to be fairly rare. But they do exist. So thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to follow the InfoMullet, visit us on Facebook or Twitter. And if you'd like notifications when we post new video content, click on the red subscribe button below the video. If you've ever wanted to become a mulleteer and support the InfoMullet, visit us on Patreon. We appreciate the support.